And we're live. Hi, it's Melinda from Hope When There Was None, and I'm on with this courageous warrior, Miss April. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And honestly, I don't know very much about it, so I have tissues in hand, and I'm going to let you just take it away.
All right. Well, we're here. We're alive. So that's good. I'm trying to find the best place to hold my phone. There. Is that better? And I'm not hiding. I will tell you this. I'm been working outside. I'll start it off with saying I can probably be a little bit more frank than other people right now because my abuser has passed away of natural causes a year ago. So we're kind of going through the thick of that. We have two kids together and they've struggled with that a lot. But they're getting better, and we're all healing and trying to. Probably the hardest part for us, me right now, is being being still angry, but also having to be um, showing my abuser some grace to help my kids through it, through his death. That's been hard because I was very vocal before he. Can you shut the door, babe? Sorry, the kids are inside. Um, it was harder when he was alive because I was still so angry. And I have found some peace, not from his death at all, but just forgiving a little bit, which I thought if you would have asked me that 4 years ago, that would have never been in my vocabulary. So that's kind of it. But the short version is he was textbook like every other that I've read about. It started off with him meeting when we met. I had a 6 year old son from my previous marriage. Sorry, dogs everywhere. And he didn't have any children. He was 10 years older than me, and everything I said or did was amazing. It was classic love bombing. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever met. You're brilliant. You're so much fun. I admire everything about you. And he was talented in many ways. So we did have a lot of fun together at first. And he, my parents and my friends pretty much right away were like, something's a little bit off. Do you feel like everything he's saying is honest? And I did. But I was very naive and I was only seeing what I wanted to see and what he wanted me to see. It went on pretty good for a little while and until I found out I was pregnant with our son together, which he'd always wanted a baby. We were both very excited. And then during the pregnancy, I think he felt neglected. I mean, and I'm just speaking for him, I guess, but I felt like he felt like the attention wasn't all on him. Maybe because I was pregnant, and I don't know, but uh, it went it went well. And then I breastfed for quite a long time, and that really bothered him. That the baby needed me more than him, I think. So it started getting kind of weird then. A lot of verbal abuse at first, and then punching holes in the walls, the regular. You're stupid. You can't do anything right. And I was a stay-at-home mom, so I was scared. Like I didn't have any money. I had all these animals and kids to take care of, and he had a job that was pretty public. He had a website that was popular and a news website, and so he would tell me frequently that he was friends with all the police and all the judges, and I wouldn't be able to get anything if I tried to leave him. Uh, when I found out that I was pregnant with our second child, the same week I found a secret cell phone in my car that he lied about, and it turned out he was just having some long-term affairs throughout both pregnancies. And so that kind of put us on a more downward spiral, I guess. I was hurt, of course, and he was defensive, and blamed it on me that I was too. I was neglecting him because I was trying to run the farm and raise little kids, and so I just didn't have time for him. He needed all the attention, and these other women could give it to him. So we went to counseling, and for about probably 3 or 4 months, and it just got worse. We were it just got a lot worse. Well, there was one night where he had started drinking a lot. He had been drinking a lot more. And I had some friends over that had a little boy the same age as ours, and we were making cheese. We'd milked a cow and made cheese, and I thought the evening was growing great. He was in the back drinking. He ended up getting upset that the kids had gotten toys out in the toy room and didn't pick them up. And he ended up getting real violent with me. And my oldest son at that time was 14 and big. And he protected his mama. And it turned into him getting very violent with my 14-year-old. Once that kind of calmed down for a minute, of course, I'm holding 2 screaming babies. Once that calmed down for a minute, I asked my 14-year-old to just get away from him for a little bit. And my son went outside, and my ex-husband followed him outside and shot at him 3 times with a shotgun. It didn't hit him. It hit my Jeep. I told my son to just get in it and drive to his dad's house, and while he was backing up, it hit the windshield. Thank God it didn't hit him. I was on my knees just in front of him praying. And my son left and called 911. I ran back inside and locked myself in the bathroom with the little ones, and we lived pretty rural, but it didn't take the police very long to get there. My 2 little ones were 3 and 4.5, and so they kind of remember it. It was a pretty traumatic night for everyone, and it ended up with some couple years in court, and he of course denied everything. He went to jail that night. He denied everything. They came out and found the bullets and interviewed everyone, and he got out on bail the next day. So luckily that night we left and went to my mom and dad's house. They were and still are the biggest supporters that we that we could ever imagine. We ended up living with them for almost 2 years, and I was given the most amazing domestic violence advocate, Charlene McGirt, and she's amazing. She sat there with me in court. She took a lot of late night phone calls and texts, and luckily I had a very, very, very strong support group. My family, my friends, and that's pretty much how it went. We were in and out of court for a long time, and it was going to go to trial, which we were terrified of. Just seeing him every time he had a supervised visitation of the little ones for about 6 months after that night. And then about a year after, he got um, awarded joint custody of two little ones. And that was the hardest part because he wasn't supposed to be drinking. He broke his protective order against us a few times. And of course, they didn't do anything about that. And that's pretty much how it went. Luckily, we were at my mom and dad's, and I was very, very blessed for my employer hired me back from a job that I had had before the little ones were born. So I got to go back to a great company, and things kind of fell into place for us. And I think about that all the time because I know there's so many people that it doesn't for. And I know how hard our situation was, and we did have so much support. We didn't have to struggle financially. We didn't have to scramble for a place to live or attorneys. Creek Nation paid for that, and uh, we were very blessed. And I do think about it all the time, how many women out there and men don't have the same resources, and it breaks my heart. I keep thinking of how I could help. I don't really know. So this is kind of the only way.
This is
It
the best way to do it.
I do know that every time I went to court, I felt a little bit stronger. Every time that I did have to face him, it was terrifying, and I would get sick to my stomach. And publicly, he talked really bad about us on his websites. He talked bad about us to anyone that would listen. So we were kind of used to that. But once he passed away, I think everyone kind of expected us, me, and my son is grown now too. He has the most amazing baby, which wouldn't have happened if he would have died that night. And I just feel so lucky. Had I stayed for 5 more minutes, none of us would be here. He had a pocket full of bullets. I don't have any doubt in my mind that if his first shot to my son would have been successful, I think he would have probably killed us all. I don't know, but it was, you don't shoot at a kid. No. I had kind of felt like over the years I'd seen it all from him, but that wasn't anything I ever expected. Anytime I talk to someone about domestic violence, it can change in the blink of an eye. I mean, before my next thought could form, it went to hell. And I felt so guilty about that, putting my kids in a situation like that. And they say it takes like 7 to 8 times to leave your abuser. Luckily for us, it didn't. But there are so many women that don't make it out, and children that don't make it out, because it does happen that quick. So quick. And it can be irreversible.
Well, you're doing a great job just sharing your story. And I feel the same way. It's like, well, how can I change laws, or how can I help somebody, or here's my money. I know you need money, but just the power of your story is going to either wake somebody up that's living in it and hasn't left yet, or it's going to let somebody know that, hey, you are on the other side, and you're remarried now, correct?
I am remarried. I wish you would come over here. I'd introduce you. He's amazing. And everything that, there were some dark times after, like, not, I was different. I never wanted, not for 1 second did I ever think about going back to my abuser, but I was in mourning for our old life. I had to go back to work, which I love my job, but I wanted to be home with my babies. I had to place some of my foster dogs. We lost our home. We lost our land. I lost, um, I would say 99% of our possessions. At least for a few years. We finally got a few stuff back after the divorce was final, but we lost our the life that we had before, and even though it wasn't great, it wasn't terrible all the time. When ours was very public, so when it came out in the news, people were like, "Oh, I had no idea," and I'm like, it was bad, but it wasn't terrible every day.
Right.
And because they know how to pull you in, they can punch a hole in the wall and call you a blah 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 blah, and then bring you flowers the next day and buy you your favorite concert tickets. I mean, it's and I knew what was happening at that time, but I was so dependent on him financially and selfishly wanting to stay home with my babies and with my animals. And so it was just kind of, I understand how people can be in a rock and a hard place.
Well, speaking of which, Jennifer, she's definitely feels what you're saying. She says, "You're helping me because right now I'm in court with my abuser, and it's not been easy at all to get my voice heard. You're giving me hope. This is the dark time, but I'll keep fighting through the hard times." And she's a warrior.
Jennifer, it does get easier. I'm crying now because I don't just remembering, but I mean, it's as long as you're alive and your babies are safe, there's hope. And as not everyone's going to listen to you, not everyone's going to even believe you because I mean, I had a friend, a mutual friend of ours, message me not very long ago, like, well, he's such a good guy. I'm like,
Wow.
we all have different perceptions of how people are, and especially abusers show different sides to different people. And Jennifer, the courts do know that. Like, there would be times where it'd be so frustrating that I'm like, I don't think they're hearing me, but they are. They just, especially as women, we kind of want someone to nurture us or like be, I don't know, like more caring about a situation. They can't be. They've got to have their, court face on and
Impartial.
diplomatic, but they are hearing us. So I pray that your situation resolves itself very, very soon. And it
Now,
does get easier.
what was it like for you jumping into a new relationship? Because I know I had reservations myself. Did you have any
It
reservations
was
when
it
you
was
dipped your
scary.
Mhm.
It's cutting out just a little bit.
Uh-oh.
It was scary and it wasn't right away. It was probably 2 years after. And it was, he had children. He has children, and so I was very open with him about everything in the beginning. And he was very open with me about his previous relationship too. So I think that helped. And um and his wasn't an abusive relationship. It didn't work out. So, we were both older and I think more experienced at that point, and it's worked. Not but it is scary because especially at the beginning of the relationship, what do I trust? Because there was so much in my last that like I blindly trusted that someone would, you know was who they said they were.
Right. And I am so
And
happy for you now.
thank you. We are too. We're happy. And um in fact, my husband's idea, one of the ideas that we keep throwing around. And if anyone has any feedback on this, I would love, love, love to hear it. When we left that night, I was lucky that my parents obviously let me bring my children, but they also let me bring my dogs. I know that I've heard from other women, like they can't leave if they don't have children because of their pets. They don't have a place for them to go. We've thought about doing a trial run for a free boarding kennel for people in domestic violence
That'd be awesome.
flights to know that their pets are safe until they can get on their feet. We keep thinking about that back and forth.
I get goosebumps. That would be awesome because I know, like in our group, the Survivors Cafe, there are several women there. They have those fur babies, and they just can't leave.
Yeah.
Or they can go to a shelter, but they can't take their animals. Some shelters do, some don't. That would be fabulous. I love that idea.
We're here in Oklahoma, and so I don't know of any shelter. Well, there is one, I think, in Oklahoma City where victims can take survivors can take their babies or their fur babies to the shelter. I don't know if it's long term.
Okay.
So that's just an idea that we've kind of been tossing around.
I think you need to have to put some sort of like a deadline or some worded somehow that, okay, within 2 months or 3 months, you need to find a place.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Obviously, we can't just have them forever, but if it could help someone decide to get out.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, I'll definitely support you. I'll go ahead and share your stuff. Yes, I love that. Oh, I still got goosebumps. Wow, that would be amazing. Yes. Yes. And I know myself, I get that call every once in a while. Someone will say, hey, do you have any resources? I've got a mama that's leaving with her kids to out of the shelter, and they have nowhere to go. And it's like, I wanted to get some kind of housing together, and I haven't been able to find anyone to help me with that. But it breaks my heart because then I end up finding most of them go back because they have nowhere to go.
I know. That's what happens. And there has to be a way to change it. It's just going to take a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And we have a local shelter called the Wish House in Muskogee. And if you've never looked them up, they're amazing. They help with housing, but also career clothes and finding women jobs. And so they do amazing things.
Okay. I'm going to share them and share them. I try and collect like different shelters or organizations that help domestic violence survivors. So thank you for that. I'm going to hold on to that one. I'm going to look for it.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Because vacation homes are coming up, art galleries. So yeah, please do. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my heart. That sounds amazing. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well, do you have you've already sprinkled in a lot of goodness here. Do you have any suggestions or tips for someone that
now a little bit?
Okay. Let's see. How about now? And any better?
Over here so I can introduce you.
Yay.
So this man puts up with a lot between me, my kids, my animals. Can you wait? You don't have to get in here. Oh, there he is. Hi.
Hello. So is that your Mr. Wonderful?
It is.
Hardly.
I have a Mr. Awesome, and he's claimed that name now. At first, he was like, no. Now, anytime somebody gets it wrong, he's like, no, I'm Mr. Awesome. So it'll grow on you.
Yes. But it does get better.
Yes.
Especially when you're out of court.
You should see all the dogs.
Is there any tips or suggestions you can give to somebody that's out there? Maybe they haven't made that jump yet, or afterwards, after they've left.
after, press on. I mean, it's so easy for someone to say that when they're not in the thick of it, because people said that to me and I thought, how? Just press on. You're worth it. Your kids are worth it. Your voice is worth it. Pray a lot and rely on your village, if it's your family or girlfriends or domestic violence advocate. Lean on them. They want to help you. And even if it's embarrassing, because I know it's humiliating, like when, especially if it's very public, or even private, nobody wants to feel less than, or in my case, I felt very negligent that I had let it escalate over the years and potentially got my kids killed. That's something I'll never forgive myself for, but I just try to make it up to them every day, like teaching. They're all boys, so I'm teaching them to be kind and learn how to control their anger in healthy ways. And before, if you haven't left there, and if he's punched the wall or pushed you or hit you or choked you or even called you at you know them all, you've heard them all, that's not okay. Life sometimes gets so hectic that we're like, yeah, it's they beat you down mentally so you won't leave, but it isn't okay. And if you're going through it, I just pray that you find the strength to get out, because it can and will change in the blink of an eye. And even if you've been real lucky, just black eyes or busted up walls, you could be at the point where you can't come back from it.
April, thank you so very much. Really and truly, thank you. I appreciate that. I like I said, I know your words will really be heard. Jennifer right now heard your story, and I know that helps so much. If anybody would like to reach out to you, please message me privately, April, if that's okay, if I send along your maybe Facebook information. Okay.
Sure.
And thank
Jennifer, if you call me before court, I can just kind of pump you up before it, and y'all are all welcome to reach out to me.
Thank you. Well, we're going to sign off. I'm going to go dry my eyes. Thank you, April. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. I'll be on tomorrow with some other information about domestic abuse. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. God bless.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.